Well, good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal on a typical Thursday morning. Yay, Thursday, for those who don't know. Thursday is my Friday. I don't work on Fridays. It's 8 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which would make it 54, I think, as I said. Oh, sorry, not 54, 46. Long way away from 54. 46 degrees in America. It is a pretty day other than that. And I'm certain that a month or so from now, I'll be really glad to see 8 degrees. That'll be when we're on the other side. Now, I don't know if any of you relate to this, but it's about this time of the year when we change the clocks over. Which I know it'll be in a couple of weeks, but when we change the clocks over, I start counting down to spring. You can understand that winter is not my favorite season. But unfortunately, in order to get spring, summer and fall, we have to endure winter. Now, I've been in countries where winter doesn't exist as we know it. It's actually more like fall and people are shivering under fur coats. But, you know, for them it feels proportionately that cold. And that's what you have to really think about. So very soon we will start the countdown, and what I do, and it's possible to work it out, if any of you have that sort of a mind. I actually go find the calendar thing that tells me what time sunrise and sunset is, and you know, it tells you for the next, it tells you for the year. And then what I do is, once we change the clocks over, I will find out when is the next time that sunrise and sunset will be at this time. And normally that's sort of around about March something or other, if I remember correctly. And then I know what I'm in for. And I start counting down the days until we're back to that point. Which, of course, for the people who do it the easy way, is when we turn the clocks the other way again. But it's not the same for me. I don't know why. I have to know technically. It's all a bit stupid, isn't it? But I am, aren't I? Yeah. So, the achievement is I let go of some of my excuses yesterday. I didn't throw anything away. I was on a path to throw something away. And what I threw away was my reason for not going outside and taking a quick walk. Now, for those of you who are trying to improve movement, I recommend a pathetic walk. Let me try and explain this. You remember the 10-minute challenge? Well, my 10-minute challenge just requires that I go down the, probably about probably about 3/4 of a block. More than that, actually. Okay, so basically there and back takes 10 minutes, whatever that is in your local area. So the easy way to find what that is you pop outside, turn your timer on and walk for 5 minutes, and then turn around and come back. Having established in your mind, this is the point where I can turn around. So I found the nearest obvious point to that, and that's where I do it. In other words, before I cross a major street, before I do whatever, I just turn around and come home. So last night I had got the video up to the point where it was uploading to YouTube, which is the longest upload and process. You know, it's always a double. I still can't understand why everything has to be done double, but never mind. So that's the longest upload, and that normally takes at least half an hour, if not more. In fact, half an hour would be on a very good day when nobody else is using the internet in my whole region. So I've got a choice, and that's my new time slot for extra movement, putting on extra steps, is that little time frame when the video is uploading to YouTube. So yesterday I started the upload, and okay, fine, get off your butt. It is time to move some more. And what I didn't know, and I wanted to know, was how many steps was it to just go down what I call the do something route. Not the block. No, not the whole block. Not all 4 sides of it. Just about a third of it. Now, you're saying, how can... I know what you're saying. How come a third of it be without crossing a road? Well, actually, it's because of the shape of my block. My block is very peculiarly shaped. It's shaped like a triangle. So, that's the reason why, in case you think I'm going absolutely insane. The one side is way, way, way longer than the other sides. One of which is very short, because it's not really a full side. Never mind, Sal. They'll get it. I popped down there. The first question was, is it raining? No. I found a new excuse popped up, by the way, because I'm really, really, listening to what's keeping me fat here. My new excuse was, but it's dark now, and you might not be safe. Nice one. Everybody could understand that, right? Nobody would want me out there unsafe. I mean, that could have worked. And I burst out laughing. I went, oh, that's good. Not going to work, but it's good. And the reason it's not going to work is, excuse me, we're talking about a suburban block. Now, I must admit, the backside of my suburban block I'd be more worried about, because there isn't a lot of, when I say activity, but it's not as well lit and it's not as obvious. Whereas the bit that I was talking about, it's got street lighting all the way, and people moving around all the time, in and out, and driving in and out and stuff. It's not a busy road at all. It's a quiet road, but if I were to scream, somebody'd hear me very easily. And boy, I can scream if I want to. So, with that, I got off my butt, put my shoes on, and off I went. And I went down to this designated spot, didn't cross the road, turned around, came back again, and yay! 800 steps just doing that. Good to know. That's very good to know. That's quick, nearly 1,000 steps. And it would be 1,000 if I, on the way back, went a little bit farther up the street the other way and then turned around and came back again. That would make it 1,000 steps in just over 10 minutes. Well, that's pretty good bang for your buck right there. And for those of you who've got smartphones, just put it on for a little while. Put it on your body for a little while, maybe an hour or two, and just, see how much you move. So it was a good one. What did I do yesterday? I know you're going to ask me. I took a picture of it this morning so that I would know and be able to tell you. But that was a long time ago. I think it was 7,200. Oh, you'll know. I took a picture of it, so it'll show up right now. Now that is particularly good, because you remember I'm trying to average 61 or 6,200. So I'm doing more each day, I am doing more each day, because I know at the weekends I don't do as much. I don't get up as early, and I don't do as much as I do going to work. For some reason, all that going to work stuff. I normally do over 1,000 just getting to work. you know, between getting up in the morning, getting breakfast, or getting my food for work ready, and getting to work, it's just under, normally just under or just over 1,000. So that's my first 1,000 of the day. It's quite an active time. Letting go, that's our subject. So I want to take another cold, hard look. Whoever this person was that wrote to me, and my heart breaks for you, this is a subject that will come up regularly. It'll come up for at least some people, unfortunately, every single year. So every single year, and maybe every single season, we do something about letting go because somebody's heart's breaking. So I can't tell you the right way to do it because I'm not sure that there is a right way. What I can tell you from many, many years of having my heart stomped on, or that's what it felt like, that it's very painful. And because it's very painful, you really need to process it the same way as you process loss. And that is, you need to understand that there's going to be a time of total denial. I can't believe he did this or she did this. I just can't believe that that happened. And then there'll be anger, which is very nasty because you don't think the best of the other person. You think, you know, how the little, I won't go into the words, but, you know, you can use some pretty harsh words in that area. And quite honestly, I think most of the time that we see very violent reactions to people splitting up or divorces or whatever, whenever it gets really violent, it's in that stage, that anger stage, where they can't accept the truth. The truth is that this is not going to continue. And when they realize that they've lost power, then they react violently. So let's have a look at that side of it. Part of the reason that we go through such a terrible time in a breakup is because we have just been told we're not nearly as irresistible as we thought we were. And that's pretty sick, isn't it? It hurts the ego big time. And then, how many of you recognize this phase where you go, no, they must have made a mistake. They must have thought something that's not true of me. So let me try and explain it to them. And then what we do is we make the 25 million telephone calls. I can remember this one. I used to do this all the time. I used to do it all the time. You know, try desperately to win them back. Yeah, right. When did that ever work? Never. You see, the thing is this, you have to trust yourself and the other person enough to say, hey, that's the decision. Now, if you want to say, I hear your decision and I get it, but if ever you want to change your mind, can't guarantee I'll still be available, but if you want to change your mind, you know where I live. So in other words, leave that door open. But also, I might not be available, which says I'm not hanging around and waiting for you. And don't. What is the point? You know, if you look at most relationships, and I'm certain that I've got lots of witnesses to this in the viewership, men get over relationships far faster than women. You know why? Because they go, that's over, next. That's what they think. Yeah, gone, next. About the time that we're busy trying to hang on, you know, clawing our way, hanging on, they're already seeking out the next relationship. Because they can't live without one, most of them. You've got to remember that. Most of them can't live without that relationship. Women can, but very few men want to. It's a very interesting, to me, it's a very interesting point. So, but men can do the cut and move on thing much, much better than women. And I wonder why that is. Are we that slow that we don't get the message? Or are we that arrogant to think that they were wrong in their decision? And we got to change their thinking again. You see, I think that's part of the problem. Is we really think we can change them. Well, no, not from my experience. So then we get into the let's try and analyze this to death. I know a lot of you will know this one. Why? I talked a bit about it yesterday. Why? What did I do wrong? Why didn't he understand what a nice person I am? Well, probably because you weren't behaving that way. One of the things, I can't remember who it was. I remember a long time ago listening to the days when we still had cassette tapes. And I listened to, I think it was Marianne Williamson. Is that right? I think it is. She did an unbelievable story about a woman going to a party with her husband, and the husband was off chatting to some gorgeous blonde all evening. And of course she was just incensed with it all, having an absolute snit. And at the end of the evening, you know, the wife went into full nag mode and going, why did you leave me alone like that? And why did you... And he turned around, or so the story goes, he turned around and said, well, let me explain to you why. You know what you're doing right now? Being an absolute pain in the butt. Well, the lady I was talking to thought I was charming, laughed at my jokes, looked gorgeous, and was such fun to be around. So if we treat our partners or boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever badly, you know, we should not be surprised that they move on. On the other hand, if we're turning ourselves into a pretzel trying to get them to treat us well, you know, then there's something wrong. The great relationships are the ones where people can be as close to who they really are all of the time and not have to put on any sort of special behavior. So, I know I used to make that mistake. I really did try and be the perfect whatever, and I don't do that well. Don't do it well at all, because I'm not the perfect anything. I'm just Sal. So that is the difficult part, is to accept that they have made a decision, and the decision is they don't want to be with you anymore. Heartbreaking, sure. But you know, whether it takes you 3 months or 3 years or 3 days or 3 minutes, it's still the decision. So, if you like, pain is inevitable in a breakup, but suffering, as we do, that's a choice. Because if we can just accept the fact that it's over and move on, and I know that's difficult, and we'll talk about that a bit more next week, because moving on is a difficult challenge. But once we can accept that, then we can start healing and living again. This is Dear MamaSal saying, look after one another, but most of all, look after yourself. Bye-bye for now.